Before we begin, subscribe to this channel. The information we are about to cover is not theoretical, it is operational. Subscribing is the first step to ensuring you understand the psychological framework that governs human attraction. Do it now. We are not discussing being busy. We are not discussing forgetting to text back. We are not discussing playing hard to get in the way your grandfather understood it. We are discussing the deliberate, conscious, and weaponized use of silence. We are talking about the act of ignoring a woman as a calculated psychological strategy. It is perhaps the most potent and dangerous tool in the arsenal of social dynamics, and it works because it does not target her conscious mind. It does not appeal to her logic or her emotions. It targets her nervous system. It hijacks her biological and psychological security mechanisms. It is a dark tactic because it is, at its core, manipulative. But to understand how to defend against it, or why it is so effective, you must first understand the mechanics. The first and most critical mistake men make is attempting to use this tool from a cold start. You cannot ignore someone who does not value your attention. You cannot create a void where there is no substance. The power of ignoring is built on a single, non-negotiable prerequisite, a foundation of consistent validation. You must first establish a pattern. You must be the source of validation. You must be the one who texts back reliably, the one who gives sharp, intelligent compliments, the one who remembers details, the one who listens. You are, through your consistency, conditioning her. You are establishing yourself as a reliable source of dopamine. This is simple classical conditioning. Her phone buzzes. She sees your name. She opens the message. She feels a small hit of pleasure, of being seen, of being desired. Her brain's reward system fires. You do this again, and again, and again. Her brain creates a neural pathway. Your name, Ella reward. You are building predictability. You are building safety. She associates you with a stable emotional state. She learns that when she is bored, or anxious, or needs a boost, she can reach out to you, and you will provide the fix. You have made yourself a utility. Then, at the peak of this pattern, when the connection feels most stable, you stop. You break the pattern. The expected reward does not arrive. The first thing that happens is not anger. It is confusion. Her brain, conditioned to expect that dopamine reward, fires off an error message. The signal was sent, but the reward did not come back. This is not a conscious thought. This is a deep, primal check engine light. This confusion immediately and automatically triggers a process of internal analysis and self-blame. Her mind does not default to, he must be building an empire, or he's probably in a meeting. Her mind, programmed for social survival, defaults to, what did I do? This is the reread phase. She will open your chat history. She will read her last 5 messages. She will analyze her last voice note. She will scrutinize every word, every emoji. Was this too needy? Was this joke not funny? Did he misinterpret this? You have, at this moment, occupied her mind. You have moved in, rent-free, and you are no longer just a person. You are an unsolved problem. You are a cognitive obsession. This is the Zeigarnik effect. In the 1920s, psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik observed that waiters in a cafe had perfect recall of unpaid orders, but instantly forgot the orders as soon as they were paid. The human brain is psychologically hardwired to obsess over incomplete tasks, open loops, and unfinished business. We have a desperate biological need for closure. An unanswered text is the ultimate open loop. A broken pattern is an unresolved narrative. By ignoring her, you have created a cliffhanger in her mind. She is not obsessing over you. She is obsessing over the unsolved puzzle you have created. Her brain must close the loop. While her brain is trying to solve this puzzle, a second equally powerful principle kicks in, the scarcity principle. Humans are value-assigning creatures. We do not assign value based on utility. We assign value based on availability. Water is more useful than diamonds, but diamonds are scarce, so they are valuable. Water is abundant, so it is cheap. As long as you were consistently available, your attention was water. It was abundant. It was a common commodity. The moment you withdraw it, you have made it scarce. You have turned your attention into a diamond, and by making it scarce, you have artificially and immediately made it valuable. She is no longer dealing with the you she knew. She is now dealing with the idea of you. She is dealing with a high-value prize that is suddenly and inexplicably slipping through her fingers. This triggers a deep-seated panic mechanism, loss aversion. Research by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky proved unequivocally that the psychological pain of losing something is twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the exact same thing. When you were giving her validation, she was gaining. It felt good, but now that you are ignoring her, she is losing. And this feels twice as bad. She had your attention, she took it for granted, and now she is losing it. The potential pain of this loss is so great, so disproportionately powerful, that it will motivate her to act, often irrationally, to prevent it. This is when the behavior escalates. The open loop, from the Zeigarnik effect, combined with the loss aversion panic, forces her to act. This is when you will receive the tests. The first test is the innocent check-in. Hey, is everything okay? This is not a question. This is a probe. She is checking to see if the machine is broken. The second test is the bait. She will post an Instagram story, something provocative, her out with friends, looking her best. This story is not for her friends. It is for you. She is not posting it. She is aiming it. She is checking to see if you will watch it. She is trying to get any sign that the connection still exists. The third test is the accusation or concern text. Did I do something to make you mad? Or, I'm worried about you. This is a more direct attempt to force a response, to force you to close the loop. During this entire phase, you have become her primary mental project. She is not thinking about work. She is not thinking about her friends. She is running psychological simulations in her head, trying to find the one combination of words or actions that will make the pattern return. And this is where the true dark power comes into play. If you give in now, if you respond to her, is everything okay? Text with a long-winded explanation or an apology, you have taught her one thing. All she needs to do is apply a little pressure, and you will fold. You have just given her the keys to your entire psychological framework. You have communicated neediness, but if you remain silent, if you let that open loop stay open, if you ignore the bait, you escalate the psychological tension to an almost unbearable level. You are now communicating something that is terrifying and irresistibly attractive in the modern world: indifference. Indifference is the nuclear weapon of attraction. The opposite of love is not hate. Hate is a massive emotional investment. Hate is caring too much. The true opposite of love, the true void, is indifference. By ignoring her, you are projecting that her emotional state does not affect your emotional state. In a world where every post, every text, every action is a desperate plea for a reaction, the man who cannot be reacted is perceived as the man with all the power. You are communicating, in the loudest possible way, that your world, your mission, your purpose is more important than her anxiety. You are communicating without saying a word that you are not needy. You are not reactive. You are sovereign. This sustained silence and perceived indifference sets the stage for the most powerful mechanism of all. This is the one that creates addiction. It's called intermittent reinforcement. This is the single most powerful tool for shaping human behavior. It was demonstrated by B.F. Skinner in the 1950s. He put a rat in a cage with a lever. When the rat pressed the lever, it got a food pellet. It learned quickly. This is continuous reinforcement. But Skinner noticed something. The rat would only press the lever when it was hungry. Then Skinner changed the rules. He made the lever dispense a pellet randomly. Sometimes the rat would press the lever and get a pellet. Sometimes it would press it and get nothing. Sometimes it would have to press it 10 times, sometimes once. The rat's behavior changed dramatically. It became obsessed. It would press the lever over and over, compulsively, hundreds of times, until it collapsed from exhaustion. It was addicted not to the reward, but to the possibility of the reward. This is the slot machine effect. This is the psychological principle that built the entire city of Las Vegas. This is what makes social media feeds addictive. You scroll, scroll, scroll. Nothing. Nothing. Funny video. Reward. You are the rat pressing the lever, looking for your pellet. When you go from consistent validation, a pellet every time, to sudden silence, no pellets, you create the problem. But when you then give a small random reward, you create the addiction. After days of silence, at a time of your choosing, when she has reached the peak of her anxiety, you send a short, simple text. Hey, been slammed with work. Hope you're good. That text is the pellet. Her brain is flooded with relief. The loop is closed. The anxiety disappears. She gets a massive dopamine hit, far more powerful than any of the consistent hits you gave her before. You have just confirmed in her mind that the lever does still work. She just has to keep pressing it. She doesn't know which text will get a reply. She doesn't know which Instagram story you'll watch. So she has to keep trying. This is critical. If you find this information valuable for understanding the world around you, subscribe to this channel. This is not surface-level advice. This is the operating manual. Subscribe now. What you have just done is trained her to work for your validation. The entire power dynamic has inverted. She is no longer the prize to be won. Your attention has become the prize. You have now become the slot machine. Her addiction to you is not an emotional or logical choice. It is a compulsive behavior rooted in a variable reward schedule. She will continue to text you, even when you don't reply, on the chance that this time will be the time she gets the reward. This is why the tactic is so dark. You are exploiting a fundamental, non-conscious flaw in the human nervous system. You are conditioning her. And this is especially devastatingly potent if she has any trace of an anxious attachment style. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, states that our model for romantic relationships is formed in our first few years of life, based on our relationship with our primary caregivers. A secure person had consistent, loving parents. They are comfortable with intimacy and comfortable with independence. An avoidant person had cold, rejecting parents. They learned that need is bad and independence is the only safety. An anxious person had inconsistent parents. Sometimes the parent was loving and present. Sometimes the parent was cold, distant, or overwhelming. The child of inconsistent parents learns two terrible lessons. Love is unpredictable and frightening. It must be earned. This child grows into an adult who is hyper-vigilant for signs of abandonment. They are constantly checking the temperature of the relationship. They need constant reassurance. When you take a person with an anxious attachment style and you apply the hot and cold of intermittent reinforcement, you are not just playing a game, you are replicating her deepest childhood wound. You are becoming her inconsistent parent. Your hot phase of validation confirms her hope. Your cold phase of ignoring confirms her deepest fear. Her entire nervous system activates, not in attraction, but in a trauma response. She will feel a desperate, primal, obsessive urge to fix what is broken, to be good enough to win back your affection and secure the connection. She will mistake this gut-wrenching anxiety for passion. She will mistake this obsessive open loop for chemistry. She will mistake her compulsive need to solve you for deep, unconditional love. You have become a trigger, and she is now addicted to the very thing that is causing her pain. She will do anything to make the cold parent become the hot parent again. Now we must discuss why this fails for 99% of men. The vast majority of men who try this fail. They fail spectacularly, and they make the situation worse. They fail for two primary reasons. Failure mode number 1. You execute from a place of weakness, not strength. Most men do not choose to ignore her proactively. They ignore her reactively. They get their feelings hurt. She said something that wounded their ego. She didn't text back fast enough. So they ignore her as a punishment. They are pouting. They are sulking. This is not power. This is powerlessness. It is the silent treatment. It screams, "You affected me so much that I have to hide in a corner and hope you notice." A woman can smell this weakness. She knows she has the power because she dictated your emotional state. She knows you are not ignoring her because you're busy. You're ignoring her because you're mad. She knows that all she has to do is wait you out or send a small apology and you'll come crawling back. True strategic silence is proactive. It is emotionless. It is a calculated move made from a position of strength. You are not ignoring her because you are hurt. You are ignoring her because you are focused. The silence is not a punishment for her. It is a consequence of your own high-value mission. Failure mode number 2. You cannot sustain the frame. The second reason men fail is that they cannot sustain it. They are bluffing. They decide to ignore her. They wait 6 hours. She doesn't text. They panic. They become the one with the open loop. They become the rat in the cage. They start compulsively checking their phone. They start analyzing her last seen status. Their anxiety builds and they crack first. They send the hey text or the you mad text. And with that single text, they have just transferred all the power back. They have communicated in no uncertain terms that they were the needy one all along. They have just proven that her validation is more important than their own frame. They have lost the game, and they will never get that power back. This leads to the darkest paradox of this entire strategy. It only works if you are genuinely willing to lose her. It cannot be a bluff. It cannot be a tactic you read on the internet and are trying out. You must have an internal point of origin so strong that the outcome, whether she texts you back or never speaks to you again, is irrelevant to your emotional state and your life's mission. If you are ignoring her, but are desperate for her to reply, you are not the one in control. You are a slave to the outcome. She will sense this. This is the final and most important evolution of this concept. This is where you move from dark tactics to actual power. The only way to truly master this is to stop playing a game and start being the man of value. The power does not come from pretending to be busy. The power comes from actually being busy. The power does not come from pretending to have a purpose. The power comes from having one. When you have a mission, your business, your fitness, your finances, your art, your studies, that you care about more than any single woman, your attention becomes scarce. It becomes naturally valuable. The ignoring is no longer a tactic. It is a natural byproduct of your focus. You are not waiting 3 hours to text back. You are in a 3-hour deep work session and your phone is in another room. You are not playing it cool when she cancels a date. You are genuinely unbothered because you now have 3 extra hours to work on your project, and that excites you. This is the ultimate sustainable frame. She will feel this. She will feel that she is not your number one priority. She will feel that she has to compete with your purpose for your attention, and this will drive her far crazier than any manipulative game of not texting back. You are not acting indifferent to the outcome. You are indifferent to the outcome. You want her, but you do not need her. When you stop needing her validation, she will become addicted to trying to give it to you. You will have broken the pattern not just for a day, but for good. You will have reset the entire frame. You are no longer the one chasing. You are the one being chased. This is the real psychology. The dark part is not the silence. The dark part is the realization that true power comes from outcome independence. It comes from a level of self-worth so high that your validation comes from within, not from her text messages. And when you have that, you will find that you no longer need to use tactics. Your mere, undivided presence, when you choose to give it, becomes the ultimate reward. Because it is rare, it is real, and it is earned. This is the final stage. Subscribe to the channel.